So starting off our list today at number 10, we have Kanye West. So back in 2022, the world saw Kanye West lose everything in the matter of seconds after he made some appalling anti-Semitic tirades that cost him his entire massive fortune. Almost everyone from his lawyers to agents and mouth-watering endorsement partners have dropped Kanye, and with his universal cancellation, it has caused the rapper's net worth to dip from $2 billion to $400 million. It all began at a Paris fashion show when the rapper thought it would be a good idea to wear a WLM t-shirt, which snowballed into anti-Semitism claims on mainstream and social media. The final straw was when Kanye completely lost it and started to throw some hateful statements at the Jewish community. The striking anti-Semitic comments forced even some of Kanye's biggest fans to back off and back the cancellation campaign of the rapper, but seriously, at the end of the day, Kanye really needed someone to take his phone away and keep him away from the spotlight, and that's where his team failed him. Number 9. Wendy Williams. It's clear that there's a lot going on with Wendy Williams right now, as the media personality is reportedly feeling broken. While it has been reported that the star is struggling with addiction that led to her being hospitalized, in the weeks leading up to her health scares, an inside source within revealed to The Sun that the star was pretty much drinking every day while she was even filming her show. While the star seems like she was doing okay for a bit, The Sun would then soon publish another report that would reveal that Wendy was still not over the betrayal of her ex-husband Kevin Hunter, and these feelings have contributed to her downward spiral. When Wendy found out her ex-husband was having a baby with his mistress, she immediately filed for divorce despite the two being married for 20 years. This is when Wendy also started to open up about her addiction, which stemmed from the betrayal to her viewers on the show. At this time, she would also confess to living in a sober house. But even after all of her hard work to get back on track, seems like she might be back at square one, as she has been caught looking pretty disheveled in the streets lately, and it looks pretty concerning, as it's clear that the star isn't exactly in the right headspace. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It would really help us out. Now, hopping back to our list, at the number 8 spot, we have Miley Cyrus. So with Miley Cyrus starting off her career at the age 11 as a child artist with the hit Disney Channel series Hannah Montana, she was the envy of many children who wanted to work in Hollywood. While the show was catered to younger audiences, of course, it's Disney, Miley suddenly shifted in the public eye, and this became a huge problem for Walt Disney Studios. When her song Can't Be Tamed was released in 2010, her image was drastically overhauled with her spicy music video. And because of this video, it was a little risky. It did raised some problems for Disney, as it featured their Hannah Montana star twisting around male and female dancers. While many would claim Miley was losing her mind as she was trying to escape the grasp of Disney to be free, it wouldn't be until Miley decided to pose topless with her back exposed for a Vanity Fair photo shoot that would have Disney scrambling to their feet when they realized Miley's squeaky clean image was threatened overnight. Just a day after the photo shoot, Disney then decided to cancel all connections they had with Miley, meaning her show and any music that played on the Disney radio channel. While the star continued to go on to ruin the good girl image Disney forced her to be, we all saw everything from tongues, risky outfits, twerking, and everything in between. But honestly, while Disney may have halted the new stages of Miley, she really came out here to prove to young women all over the world that we don't have to live up to society's pressures, and that was honestly pretty inspiring to see. Number 7, Nicki Minaj. In 2011, Nicki Minaj stole the show at the American Music Awards with her performance. But what fans don't know is that she actually had a major wardrobe malfunction before hitting the stage. The AMAs was set to be an amazing performance, but when Nicki had a horrible malfunction with her clothes and her hair just 10 minutes before she was set to open, she would tell Complex magazine, "So I was backstage having an effing nervous breakdown. My hair was supposed to light up, my choker was too small." Nicki then somehow managed to pull it all together, so while she was in the box waiting for her show, she ripped off her outfit, threw it to the side, and pretty much had to act like nothing happened. So when the star did finally hit the stage, she freaked out because it wasn't the show she wanted. Number 6, Will Smith. Just before the infamous Oscar slap, it's said that Will Smith was having a terrifying vision that showed him losing all of his money. And while the star was also being humiliated by his wife again and again, he really didn't have anywhere to turn to. So it just kept getting bottled up inside. So eventually that pain and anger was so bottled up inside him that it was only a matter of minutes before the star would actually lose it. And unfortunately, that moment came just before he won an Oscar. While Chris Rock probably shouldn't have made such a hurtful joke to begin with, Will should have known better than to react with violence. With the slap sending Will into this professional life spiral, no one would have thought what was going to happen next. With Will being canceled, the Academy would then go on to ban him for the next 10 years from the award shows, and he also made the decision to quit the Academy altogether. And if it couldn't get any worse, Jada then started to make headlines saying that she never wanted to be with Will and that it was her mother forced her to do it. At the end of the day, Will's mental health was just deteriorating so fast that even he had to check himself into a hospital, focus on repairing his mental health. Now, it's clear that the actor won't stay canceled forever, but I do wish his recovery well, and I do hope things turn around fast for him because he definitely didn't deserve any of this.
Halfway through at number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf has had a few outbursts in his day, including his famously aggressive "just do it" bit, but the one I'm gonna tell you guys about was just so uncalled for. Back in 2017, Shia had a bit of a freak out at a bowling alley of all places, and I'm guessing that it was just chalked up to him being hangry or something because our guy Shia freaked out over some french fries. While at a bowling alley, he went up to order some french fries, and when he was refused, probably because he was being so aggressive, things got out of hand. In a video captured of the incident, you see Shia behind the bar yelling at one of the bartenders about his french fries, and the bartender was holding a large bottle of Grey Goose vodka as a sort of defensive tactic. It looked like he was really about to smack the actor with the bottle if he got too close, you know? Well, this made Shia even angrier and even took him to the point of angrily yelling that the bartender was, quote, an effing racist, even though both of them are white. After being escorted from the premises, Shia kept saying that they effed up and demanded that someone call the police, even though it was completely unnecessary. There are those who were there that night that said that the actor was drinking a lot that night and that his outburst was probably fueled by his alcoholism, something that the actor has dealt with in the past.
Number 4. DaBaby. DaBaby is a Grammy-nominated artist who found himself being canceled after he made some outrageous remarks at Miami's Rolling Loud Festival back in 2021. While the star was on stage for his performance, out of nowhere, he began to call out members who are a part of the LGBTQ community. And here, he would continue to use crude language when he addressed them, all while he was spreading misinformation about medical issues. With artists such as Madonna, Questlove, and Elton John denouncing DaBaby's remarks after his concert, the whole world started to shut the door on the rapper as his performances started to be canceled all over the world. While DaBaby was trying to retract his comments just days later with an apology, he just caused so much pain and hurt to the point he won't be able to bounce back from this one anytime soon.
At number 3, Russell Crowe. Actor Russell Crowe had a bit of a temper tantrum at a New York City hotel, which resulted in him getting arrested. In 2009, Russell was staying at the Mercer Hotel in Soho when he got into a fit of rage. This happened after he failed to call his wife, who was in Australia at the time. He was trying to make the call from his room but couldn't get through to his wife, and so frustrated, he went down to the lobby to confront the concierge. According to sources, Russell and the concierge got into a verbal altercation as the actor lost his temper and hurled a phone at the man behind the counter. The assault resulted in the concierge sustaining cuts and severe pain on his face. The actor was arrested and charged with second-degree assault and fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon, the weapon being the phone. He had a total meltdown that day in the hotel, and I'm sure that's something that the concierge will never forget. I hope his face is okay though.
Number 2. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan has had a pretty troubling past, from substance abuse to mental breakdowns. This girl has single-handedly kept gossip sites alive, as at one point, all we ever saw was her name smeared across the headlines for everything she was doing. While the actress has been sent to 5 rehab facilities for a total of 250 days since January 2007, she has also had to appear in court 20 times before 4 judges who have found her in violation of her probation 4 times, and they have even sentenced her to 6 months in jail. While it is worth noting that that she did spend less than 2 weeks behind bars in her 6 trips to the Los Angeles County Jail. Lindsay was confined to her home for at least 35 days each time they let her out early. While the star started to spiral out of control due to her outrageous partying, by 2014, the Mean Girls star would finally ruin her reputation in Hollywood, which would cause her career to come to a halt for a bit of time. While the star continued to party for years to come, lately it seems like she's back on track and she's doing well. She just signed a Netflix deal, and we haven't seen her do anything out of the ordinary, and it's great to see her back on track, and I can't wait to see what she does next. And coming in at number 1 today, we have James Corden. Back in October, James Corden would be put on blast by Keith McNally after James decided to cause chaos in his restaurant. On Instagram, Keith would even claim that James has been one of the most abusive customers he has ever had to face in his restaurant in the last 25 years. What started off as a date night soon turned into a disaster after James lost his mind over his wife's wrong order. After James complained about a number of issues that were wrong with the meal, instead of doing what a normal human being would do, he took things too far, and he began to scream at staff members, "You can't do your job." James then lost his mind even more and started yelling at the server like a crazy person when he said, "You can't do your job, you can't do your job, maybe I should go back into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." And the worst part is, this isn't the first time James has acted pretty odd in public, as he actually has a long list of bizarre things that he's done, which proves he's either completely bonkers or he just let fame get to his head, or, you know, it could be both. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Harry Styles. Harry Styles was left a little red-faced after he suffered a wardrobe malfunction back in January while he was performing in front of one of his first celebrity crushes, Jennifer Aniston. During the middle of Harry's concert, the singer split his trousers right down the middle while he was belting out to his hit song music for a sushi restaurant. Later, a video would surface online where Harry could be seen dropping to his knees before making a shocking face to the crowd as he realized his pants had split. The former One Direction member quickly then covered the rip with his hands and managed to see the funny side while apologizing to the audience sitting in the front row. When he said, "My trousers ripped. I feel I must apologize to a certain few of you right down in the front there." Later, the musician was seen running around the stage before grabbing a pride flag, which he used to cover up the split by tying it around his waist. Number 9. Miley Cyrus. After ringing in the new year on the NBC New Year's Eve special, at one point during the show, Miley lost her top during her performance, which caused her to quickly improvise and change her entire look while continuing on with her set. The moment took place just after Miley performed her hit We Can't Stop and transitioned into another hit, Party in the USA. As she was strutting around the stage in a silver outfit, Miley could be seen holding onto her top as she sang the opening lyrics of the song before she then made her way backstage as her backup singers and band continued to play. The singer then returned to the stage in a red blazer, which she previously wore in her program earlier, and she channeled into her 2009 song by saying, "Everybody is definitely looking at me now. I'm still in the most clothes I've ever wore on stage." Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Janet Jackson. Most people can't even remember who won the Super Bowl back in 2004, but what most people can remember is the biggest moment of the night when Justin Timberlake ripped off the top of Janet Jackson's black bodice, and for a fraction of a second revealed Janet's bare chest that was covered only by a shield. Later, Janet's spokesman would then call the incident a wardrobe malfunction that was not intentional. He then went on to say he was supposed to pull away from the bustier and leave a red lace bra. The whole incident went on to ruin Janet's career, even after she made a public statement saying, "The whole thing went wrong in the end. The decision to have a costume reveal at the end of my halftime performance was one made after the final rehearsal. MTV was completely unaware of it, and it was not my intention that it would go as far as it did. I apologize to anyone offended, including the audience, MTV, CBS, and the NFL." But why did Justin never face the same consequences? Number 7. Britney Spears. Britney Spears has had a rough life. While the world just thought the star was losing her mind for no reason, when we all learned about her conservatorship, It all made us realize that every time the star acted out, she was really doing this because she was begging the world to notice that something was up and that she wasn't doing okay. While Britney's family forced the star to work endlessly so they could live off of her giant fortune, they enjoyed everything from spa days to champagne, and Britney would find herself being barred from these sorts of activities. It was so bad that the star couldn't even enjoy a cup of coffee. Now, eventually, Britney would tell the world what was truly going on with her and why her mental health was deteriorating so fast. And a lot of her actions then started to make a lot of sense. So back in the day when the world was making fun of the star and claimed that she was simply just off her rocker because she shaved her head or played dress up with her food at a restaurant table, while these gestures did seem a bit odd, it was Britney's way of showing us that her family was controlling her day-to-day life and she really needed us to help save her.
Number 6. Lindsay Lohan. Back in 2008, the Daily Mail would state that Lindsay Lohan would win the most embarrassing wardrobe malfunction as she led the young Hollywood charge on the red carpet. The star would then soon be left feeling embarrassed after she was caught off guard by a gust of wind. There wasn't a lot with the dress to begin with, so the gust of wind just whipped up her flimsy skirt. The poor girl was then left beaming away uncomfortably when her flesh-colored girdle made an unexpected public debut. The star tried not to let the moment get the best of her, and she continued to smile for the cameras. While the moment could have been the perfect Marilyn Monroe moment, it just wasn't a good moment for Lindsay. Luckily for Lindsay, her friend was right by her side to help her fight the gust of air, but the help could have came a little sooner.
At number 5, Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers is a funny, sassy, and mostly cheerful woman. She said herself that she was put on this earth to make people laugh, but that doesn't mean she doesn't get angry. Joan is relatively patient when it comes to the press because she knows to take what they say with a grain of salt, but there came a moment where she was so upset by an interview that she just stormed out. This happened when she was being interviewed by CNN about one of her books. During the interview, the reporter started off by asking about Joan's book and her life, but then the questions turned and became a little more negative and judgmental. The reporter started commenting on Joan's comedy and suggested that her words can be a little shocking and rude, and then she goes on to comment about the fact that Joan was wearing fur on the cover of her book. This got Joan mad and she kinda just went off on the reporter. You could really tell that Joan was just fed up with this interview, and so she stormed out. Following the interview, CNN tried to reach out for a comment or even to pick up where they left off, but she declined.
Number 4. Britney Spears. When Britney Spears kicked off her Piece of Me tour with a bang, she probably didn't intend it to come with a wardrobe malfunction while performing her song Do Something. A video captured by a fan and posted to YouTube would reveal that Britney was struggling to adjust her sparkly black bra behind a set wall mid-song. When she re-emerged from the behind makeshift prop, her chest was slightly exposed. Whether the pop princess failed to notice it or merely just chose to keep things moving on, she did finish out the rest of her number without fixing her top. And it definitely hasn't been her first wardrobe malfunction, as back in 2016 she also handled things like a pro when her bra popped open on stage during her Piece of Me show in Las Vegas, as the star could be seen quickly covering her chest with her hands until her backup dancers were able to refasten her top back up.
At number 3, Kanye West. Kanye West has had a long history of freakouts and meltdowns, but this one is probably one of the most freakouts I can think of, and it comes from his interview with Sway Calloway. During his time on Sway's radio show, Kanye got into a very heated argument with the radio host over merch. During the interview, Kanye spoke out about his frustrations with the fashion industry and his creative freedom when it comes to his brand. He said how he's experienced a lack of support from people who he's collaborated with, and then Sway suggested that Kanye just fund his project himself, and then that's when things got ugly. Kanye seemed to have gotten angered by Sway's suggestion and then proceeded to yell, quote, "You ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers," over and over and over and over again. Watching videos of Kanye's freakout, he was so frustrated. He almost looked like he was going to cry, honestly. After the interview, footage of Kanye's outburst became a meme, and some even remixed his screaming into a song. But the bottom line here is that Kanye was super upset by this interview.
Number 2. Lil Nas X. When Lil Nas X made his Saturday Night Live musical guest debut on season 46 finale, while he was performing 2 of his recent singles in 2021, he ended up enduring a wardrobe malfunction on live television. During the rapper's Call Me By Your Name performance, Lil Nas X could be seen wearing a fire leather pant, which appeared to tear in the upper thigh area right after he was reenacting a part from the music video's controversial pole sequence. Later, Lil Nas would head to his Twitter to say, "Not my pants ripped on live TV. OMFG, no, I wanted to do my pole routine so bad. This is what I get. LMAO." While the star didn't want to ruin his performance, he wanted to continue on with his set. For the remainder of the song, Lil Nas then went on to split his attention between both finishing out the song and noticeably keeping his pants intact. And it makes you wonder when performers are going to understand that the look of tight pants may be nice, but wearing pants that fit can actually prevent these malfunctions from happening. And this is why you do dress rehearsals in your outfits, and it's necessary to do so. Every dancer and performer knows this. Luckily for his second performance, his song Sun Goes Down went malfunction free, with the rapper contrasting the devilish hellscape with a more heavenly setting. Number 1. Khloe Kardashian. Over the last decade, Khloe Kardashian has had a handful of wardrobe malfunctions that she has had to handle like a boss. One of her most memorable clothing issues was when she suffered a noticeable chest slip on camera during a June 2011 appearance on Fox and Friends. While she was speaking with the show's host, Khloe accidentally exposed her chest for a few minutes into the interview while she was wearing a black sheer top. However, she didn't let the brief moment bring her down. Later in a post on Twitter, Khloe would state that she had a little slip up and she loved it, before tweeting that her mom even called her saying the incident was all over the internet and she didn't think this type of thing was so special. Khloe has also been pretty vocal about dreading clothing slip-ups, when she would admit that she was feeling frantic when she experienced a unique shirt malfunction backstage of the Ellen DeGeneres show. She would tell People magazine at the time that because she had a malfunction with her shirt, she had to scrunch over because she didn't have a shirt under her blazer.
Starting things off at number 10, Tyra Banks.
This is not, be quiet,
but
Tiffany.
everybody,
Be quiet!
That's what is
I'm
wrong
not
with
trying
you.
to, but you're not. Stop it!
I think that one of the most memorable meltdowns from reality TV has to be from America's Next Top Model, when Tyra yelled at contestant Tiffany Richardson. It was her famous "We were rooting for you" freakout that has stuck in my head for all of these years. The incident happened when Tyra was frustrated with Tiffany's behavior over the last week of competitions, saying that she was disconnected and was trying less than all of the other contestants. When she got eliminated and didn't seem fazed by it, that's when Tyra flipped her lid and started on her famous freak out, saying, quote, "Be quiet, Tiffany, be quiet. What's wrong with you? Stop it. I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells like this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?" Tyra really wanted to see Tiffany succeed, but instead she watched the model burn out and fall apart. Tyra was honestly just fed up with Tiffany and her indifference towards the competition, and I guess she just couldn't handle the frustration anymore. At number 9, Andrew Garfield.
Whoa, Andrew, relax, man. Whoa, what happened?
Andrew Garfield is another celebrity who's just had it with the paparazzi. While out with actress Emma Stone, the pair were spotted by paparazzi and they swarmed them while they were trying to pull their car out of a driveway. Since the photographers gathered around their car, they couldn't move without risk of hitting them, although I don't think a lot of celebrities would mind seeing that happen. I'm joking. Anyway, Andrew got frustrated with the paps and swarming their car, so he got out and stood in front of the car, making a pathway for Emma to pull the car through. After getting a little way through the crowd, he got back into the car just for the photographers to gather back around the vehicle. Frustrated, Andrew gets back out of the car to clear a path and then gets back in the car, only for the paparazzi to gather a third time. At this point, Andrew gets out, slamming his door, and yells at the paparazzi to get out of the way, and finally gets into the car and speeds away. Paparazzi clearly need to get better at listening to these stars, because when they don't, they get mad and then they act like it wasn't their fault when it clearly was. In at 8, Alec Baldwin.
You have insulted me. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old or that you're a child.
Alec Alec Baldwin's nasty freakout at his daughter Ireland back in 2007 really just tops the list of things you should not say to your kid. This incident comes from when he left his daughter a voicemail telling her how angry he is that he took time off from his apparently very busy schedule to call her, just for her not to answer the phone. In the voicemail he said, quote, "You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old or that you're a child or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the ass who doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. Once again, I've made an ass of myself trying to get to a phone. You've humiliated me for the last time with this phone." He also went on to call his daughter a pig. Yeah, this long, angry recording really didn't help the actor's fatherly image, as this came out during the time where he was in a custody battle with his ex-wife over their child. In later years, Ireland has come out to say that the things that he said to her on the phone hurt her in a permanent way. Now that was one serious freakout. At number 7, John Lennon. I don't know about you, but when I think about John Lennon, I don't normally think about getting beaten to a pulp by him. I mean, I don't know much about the guy in general, but he just didn't really seem like the violent type. Well, apparently he kind of was. John Lennon had a serious freakout at Paul McCartney's 21st birthday, which resulted in someone getting absolutely pummeled. The altercation started when Lennon was confronted by someone suggesting that there was some kind of romance between Lennon and Brian Epstein. See, John and Brian had taken a holiday together just prior to this party, and there was speculation that they were lovers because Brian was gay. John hated the rumors surrounding him and Brian, so when this person brought it up, John kinda snapped and ended up beating this guy up so bad. He was hitting him with a large stick and gave him a black eye and a couple of bruised ribs. Lennon later recalled thinking that he could have killed this guy in the moment, so he was very obviously filled with rage. At number 6, any of Gordon Ramsay's freakouts. Gordon Ramsay is known for his freakouts. Between his freakouts on Kitchen Nightmares and Hell's Kitchen, he's done a lot of screaming and shouting in his day. Every single one of his on-screen meltdowns are honestly just so entertaining because of how aggressively mad he gets at some of these people. And don't even get me started on the name calling. The idiot sandwich, classic. Calling someone a donkey, even better. Gordon is the king of freakouts and the king of insults, and what makes it even better is the fact that even after yelling at all these people and insulting them and their work, he's still a very highly respected chef. I mean, he really doesn't seem that scary unless you piss him off. But his talent in the kitchen combined with his charisma outside of the kitchen, you can never really cancel Gordon for his behavior because that's just what makes him who he is.
Number 5. Armie Hammer. So just when Armie Hammer was at the top of his career, no one would have thought his world would all come crumbling down after it was revealed that he was sending some pretty concerning messages to women. Since Armie has been the subject of intense scrutiny over the messages that claimed he had an outrageous fetish began spreading in January of 2021. It was clear that the star just wasn't in the right mind, we would all hope, because just days after the controversy had begun to unfold online, well, in the beginning, everyone thought the claims couldn't be true. But then when Armie stepped down from a role in Shotgun Wedding, we all started to realize that there actually could be some truth to the story. While the actor and his team continually denied the allegations that were being brought against him, it really makes you wonder what could be going through someone's mind that would make them tell potential partners that they wanted to eat them.
Coming in at number 4, Kim K. Sometimes it's the spirit of the holidays that brings family together, and other times it tears them apart. The latter seems to have been the case with Kim and Kourtney over their holiday photo shoot. Viewers of their reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians watched as Kim freaked out at Kourtney over her demands regarding their photo shoot. Kourtney was being uncooperative when it came to the scheduling of the photo shoot, saying that she'd only work for a certain amount of time, and this conflicted with everyone else's time, and Kim really just lost it on her. Kim began yelling at Kourtney, saying, quote, "Maybe if you had an effing business that you were passionate about, then you would know what it takes to run an effing business. No one wants you in the photo shoot," and she even called her sister the most uninteresting to look at. Harsh, Kim. Even after Kourtney stormed out of the room, Kim kept up her frustration, yelling to her mom and sister about it. I think it's safe to say that Kim really blew her top on this one.
Number 3. Cardi B. So in 2019, when Cardi made her second return to the stage following plastic surgery complications, the rapstress certainly made an impact at Bonnaroo Music Festival after she had a pretty embarrassing wardrobe malfunction. The press hitmaker was wearing a skin-tight, multicolored, all-in-one jumper which tore half down the seam while she was dancing and twerking around the stage. Trying not to let the mishap get the best of her, she quickly ran backstage and returned wearing a white bathrobe over the top of her underwear, and she managed to complete the rest of the set like that. Onlookers then went on to praise how Cardi handled the malfunction by claiming that Cardi being in a robe at Bonnaroo is a mood. And they definitely weren't wrong, as when the star walked on the stage she yelled "I'm back," and she was clearly living her best life as she danced the night away in her bathrobe.
At number 2, Justin Bieber. Would this list really be complete without mention of Justin Bieber and his many outbursts? No. In one of his more notable freakouts, we saw him lunge and try to attack paparazzi. While leaving a hotel in March of 2013, paparazzi were waiting outside looking for the singer, but they seem to have gotten a lot more than what they bargained for. As Justin tried rushing into the van that was waiting for him and his team, he began getting yelled at and insulted by paparazzi. Angered, Justin lunged out of the van and tried fighting the paparazzi, and as the photographer egged him on, Justin just got more and more enraged, to the point that his team had to hold him back from the photographer. The two just yelled and swore at each other until they inevitably drove away. I really think that this photographer purposely made Justin mad just because he knew that he'd get a rise out of him, and that would just make for a good story. During this period of time, Justin was known for his outbursts and troublesome behavior, but egging someone on just to get a good shot, that's just plain disrespectful. Finally, at number 1, Britney Spears. Probably the best example of a celebrity freakout has to be Britney Spears and her umbrella incident. This came from a very troubling time for Britney in 2007 after shaving her head and getting 2 tattoos. The umbrella incident came about as she was swarmed by paparazzi at a gas station. As this was already a weird time for the pop star, the paparazzi were really out there trying to look for big news with her, and boy did they ever strike gold that night. After being surrounded by photographers, Britney went to her car, got an umbrella, and started smashing a photographer's car with it, and it actually caused quite a lot of damage. Through her yelling, profanities, and her violent outbursts, the cameras caught everything, and the images have been living on the internet ever since, reminding us of her troubled past. At number 10, Samuel L. Jackson. Not only has Sam L. Jackson had it with these mother effing snakes, he's also had it with these mother effing reporters. During an interview in 2014, a TV news anchor mistook Samuel L. Jackson for Lawrence Fishburne, and his reaction was both intense and a little funny. The news anchor started off their interview by asking the actor about his Super Bowl commercial, but soon after he was corrected into realizing that the commercial was from Lawrence Fishburne and not Samuel. In response to this apparently very common mix-up, Samuel told the news anchor that he is not in fact Lawrence Fishburne, and then goes on to say that though he and Fishburne are both successful black men, they are not in fact the same person. I'm pretty sure he was just joking in this bit, but it was still pretty intense and probably made the anchor feel pretty embarrassed. At number 9, Chris Brown. I think that after the Rihanna incident in 2009, our perception of Chris Brown changed, and we now see him as someone with a bad temper. Well, coming out of that night in 2009, Chris sought to change his image, but I'm not quite sure it worked. In 2011, Chris Brown was a guest on Good Morning America and sat down with Robin Roberts for an interview to discuss his new album and to perform a song from said album, but during the interview you could see Chris getting pretty mad at Robin after she kept asking him about his altercation with his ex Rihanna. During the interview, as Robin would stray off topic of Chris's album and would begin referencing his incident with Rihanna and how that affected him, Chris kept trying to get her to stay on topic of the album. It obviously enraged him so much talking about Rihanna and Robin not staying on the topic because Chris had a meltdown after his time on air had ended. He performed a song, then stormed off stage to his dressing room, and it was then that he took off his shirt, threw a chair at a window, which caused it to smash and send shards of glass falling down to the street below, and then he stormed off. He missed the rest of his scheduled interviews and appearances that day and just kinda had a meltdown. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, I just want to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on the video because it really helps us out. At number 8, Tom Cruise. Sometimes love can overwhelm a person. When you're really infatuated with someone, you want to shout it from the mountaintops and apparently jump up and down on Oprah's couch. That last one pertains to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 2005, and at the time when he and actress Katie Holmes had just begun dating. Being a talk show host, Oprah obviously had to ask Tom about his new relationship and fed into the audience's amazement with the actor. Tom, already being super hyped up by the audience's energy and also some kind of stimulant like coffee or started getting really jazzed about talking about Katie. Tom was really out there. He jumped on the couch a few times during that interview and he was all smiles and laughs and was really just freaking out about his love for Katie Holmes. I really don't know if his reactions during that interview were genuine or not, but it was still a wild little freak out that he had there. Coming in at number 7, Cardi B. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have been rivals for some time now. As they're both big name female rappers, there's bound to be some tension between them, but a lot of this tension came to a head at a New York Fashion Week party that ended in a brawl between the two women. The altercation started after Cardi approached Nicki about alleged lies that she'd been spreading about her. Nicki had also allegedly stepped on Cardi's dress, causing it to rip. There were also reports that Nicki had said something about Cardi's daughter culture. There were shoes being thrown, wigs being snatched, and it ended with Cardi being escorted out by security barefoot with a torn dress and a bump on her head. Later on, Cardi took to Instagram to speak on the incident, saying that it was Nicki's comments about her daughter that really pushed her over the edge. When Mama Bear comes out, the claws do too. At number 6, Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom had kind of a freak out at a high-end restaurant in Ibiza, which resulted in a fight breaking out between the actor and Justin Bieber. According to witnesses of the altercation, Justin, who had not been dining at that restaurant, came in allegedly looking for trouble, and he sure found it. Apparently what went down was Justin approached the table where Orlando and Leonardo DiCaprio were sitting and said something about Orlando's ex-wife Miranda Kerr. This obviously made him angry and raised tensions in the restaurant. Justin began walking away, but Orlando came chasing after him, jumping over a couch before catching him and trying to throw punches. They began fighting one another, and other guests at the restaurant, including other celebrities, started cheering until the fight was broken up and Justin was dragged out of the restaurant by security. It is thought that Orlando got so mad at Justin because he was saying some derogatory things about Miranda, so just to add salt to the wound, Justin ended up posting a bikini picture of Miranda to his Instagram the next day following the brawl, but he ended up taking it down shortly after.
Number 5, Katherine Heigl. So back in 2010, when Katherine Heigl was accepting the Showist Award for Female Star of the Year in Las Vegas, one of the straps of her dress would break, and it shocked the actress, and then she continued to try to make her acceptance speech. Access Hollywood host Billy Bush then immediately ran to her rescue and helped the star by holding her strap in place. Just after, Billy would take to Twitter to say that while he was hosting the awards in Las Vegas, Katherine's dress broke and he had to hold her top on while she was accepting the award. By the end of the night, it all seemed well as Katherine was able to regain her composure and finish her speech. Later, she went backstage and found pins so she could secure the strap so she could continue taking photos, and then she went on to praise Billy for all of his help.
At number 4, Sean Diddy Combs. I'm not a parent, but I can understand the need to protect your kids and defend them no matter what. If someone is hurting your kid or if they're being treated unfairly, you're gonna want to step in and do something about it. While celebrity parents are just the same, and sometimes things can get a little out of hand. Sean Diddy Combs was ready to square up with his kid's football coach because he was unhappy with how his son was being treated. When I first read about this, I thought it was a case of Diddy chewing out his son's little league coach or something, but oh no. This case was a little more extreme. A lot more extreme. His son was the defensive back for the UCLA football team, and Sean didn't just have any choice words with Coach Sal Alozzi. Oh no, he actually hit the guy with a kettlebell. Sources say that Sean walked into the locker room to speak with the coach, words were exchanged, and then things got heated, leading to the rapper throwing the kettlebell of undisclosed weight at the coach. Diddy ended up getting arrested for the brawl and faced 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count of making threats, and 1 count of battery. Now that's a freak out.
Number 3, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller was on their way to become a well-known Hollywood name. And while in the beginning we all praised them for being an activist who stood up for victims of gender-based violence in indigenous communities, by 2020, Ezra started to usher in a new kind of Ezra. And this Ezra showed us they were hiding their true colors from us for years. After Ezra was caught on a video getting into an altercation with a fan at an Iceland bar, it would soon be rumored that they were also leading a cult and making unwanted advances on younger people. While the star did come out to say they were sorry for their past, behavior and anyone they may have upset with it, they continued to spiral out of control to the point it was clear the apology was fake and that there was something really concerning going on. While Ezra would later come out to say that their mental health was behind their bad behavior, I don't think any of us believe that. It's just really weird that DC Studios still is supporting The Flash and Ezra with it. As if it was any other film star, their career would have faded away from Hollywood so fast that it makes you wonder if they have something going on that's allowing them to stay in the spotlight, when it's clear that being in the spotlight is actually causing them more harm because it's causing them to spiral more out of control.
At number 2, Gary Coleman. The late Gary Coleman had a successful career, but he also faced some scrutiny surrounding his suspected and alleged domestic altercations with his wife. Before his death, he was asked about his domestic issues during a number of interviews, and though he denied ever having laid a hand on his partner, that never stopped people from prying. Being suspected of abusing others made him very upset, and we definitely saw this during an interview on The Insider. During the interview, Coleman was being grilled about his place in the media and the allegations that he'd been facing, and as he continuously turned these allegations and scrutiny down, the interviewer just kept on pushing until Gary snapped and began yelling at them, calling them names, and saying some other less than nice things. After being grilled and getting increasingly angrier, he stormed out of the interview. Though they tried calling him back, he was just too furious to return. The clip that I showed you was just a small bit of Gary's freakout, but the rest isn't too nice either. But if you want to check out the rest of that interview, go check it out. There's some foul language in there. At number 1, Solange Knowles. The famous Solange versus Jay-Z elevator battle was pretty famous. It's something along the lines of the plot of Batman v Superman, just with the celebrities instead of the superheroes. The freakout fight battle to the death even took place at the 2014 Met Gala, and though it took place about 6 years ago, we still have no clue what provoked the fight. Some speculate it was because of a cheating scandal, and others think that it could be about money, but really, there's no confirmed reason as to why the fight broke out. All we have to analyze is this surveillance footage that was leaked to the internet that got this whole drama started. In the footage, we see Solange and Jay-Z begin what looked like a verbal disagreement, which turned into a physical altercation. My guess is that Solange was just standing up for her sister and sort of flipped out on the rapper. Either way, it was dramatic and intense.